Do you guys remember when Trump suggested that the United States should have a space force? And all the liberal journalists, they were like, Trump's so dumb. They even gaslit short fat otaku, which even today thinks that Trump's so dumb. I don't know, like, how can you believe that a person who manages to become the U.S. president is dumb? I mean, surely there must be some level of cognitive function there. Maybe they had the time machine, right? Maybe they saw Joe Biden and they went back into the time and they said, you know, like, maybe you can have a president that's not very intelligent. But anyway, right? So why am I bringing this up? According to sources, CNN, MSNBC have received news of a serious national security threat coming from Russia, who wants to put a nuclear capable weapon in space, allegedly to target satellites. Now, the reason that this would be concerning is that since World War II, humanity has discovered that if you control the air, you control the ground. So if you have air superiority, you can dominate the battlefield. And this is the cornerstone of NATO tactics. But as technology has advanced, in order to control the air, you need to control the space. So the vacuum of space is controlled with satellites. And they are the ones that are offering GPS, they're the ones that are offering communications, they're the ones that are the cornerstone of most of our military and civilian technology. So without the satellites, it's very difficult to control the air. And without controlling the air, that is difficult to control the ground. And this is, the reason why a space force was needed. It's not like sending space marines, as the liberals were like. No, it was like to do with satellites. Protecting your own satellites and probably, I assume, taking out the enemies. And if I'm not mistaken, they also deal with hacking and cyber threats. So, why would the nuclear missile in space be problematic? Well, for several reasons. First of all, there is the Kessler syndrome. Now, the Kessler syndrome is the theory which states that the density of space debris and space junk that are orbiting Earth could become so high that it would be impossible for us to keep launching satellites or anything into orbit. Like, you have these tiny particles that are traveling incredibly fast, and they're pretty much like bullets. So if you try to launch a satellite and the space debris is so thick, then that satellite gets destroyed instantly. And the scenario becomes very concerning if nations like Russia, the United States, and China would start looking at space as a battlefield. If they were to try to take each other's satellites out, if they were to try to weaponize space, you get closer to that Kessler syndrome scenario. And obviously the issue would be that we would have no satellites, which means difficult internet coverage, difficult communications, difficult GPS. Not to mention Elon Musk would be very upset because he would not be able to colonize Mars. So we would be trapped on Earth. So this is something that most nations are trying to avoid. Another problem with placing a nuclear-capable weapon in space has to deal with the fact that there are not that many international laws against it. I mean, theoretically there are. But like, if you're nuking space, you're not really nuking a country. Theoretically, you're not killing anyone. So it's very difficult to engage into the mutual assured destruction scenario. Right? Because you haven't like really launched a nuke on the soil of another country. You're not nuking a city. You're nuking a satellite. And sure, the damage is pretty significant. But it's not significant enough, I believe, in order to justify nuclear retaliation from other countries. Like, sure, there's going to be sanctions and there's going to be other things, but Russia is already sanctioned to high heaven, right? So this is why it is concerning. Secondly, the way that nuclear weapons deal in space is pretty different than how they manifest on Earth, right? Because there's no atmosphere there. My understanding is that the EMP is a little bit more powerful, and I think it's the EMP that is the danger here, right? Because you're launching this huge magnetic pulse, which is going to fry all the satellites. Most of the satellites aren't designed to outstand this scenario. And I assume like the weapon that the Russians allegedly are putting high up there is taking into consideration that it is designed to destroy satellites. So I think like the EMP would be the thing that's concerning. Now, apparently, Senate is requesting that the President Joe Biden declassifies all information regarding this threat so that Congress, the administration, and our allies can openly discuss the actions necessary to respond to it. He says that it's a national security threat. Turner and his Democrat counterpart Jim Himes said in a letter to lawmakers in the panel that he had identified an urgent matter with regard to destabilizing foreign military capability that should be known by all Congress policymakers. They said that the committee had voted on Tuesday to make classified information available in a secure location for review by lawmakers until Friday. Himes urged caution, however, in a separate statement in which he described the intelligence as significant, but not a cause for panic. You know, I always love this type of speech. It's like, it's not a cause for panic. And my question is like, if there was a cause for panic, would they say it? Theoretically, they would, I guess, like during COVID, right? Like during COVID, they wanted people to panic, especially the mainstream media. Like they had a big red counter in the right corner. It's like COVID deaths. I bet they wish they would like to have that for global warming as well. You know, deaths to heat stroke or some shit. So theoretically, yeah, I guess like every now and then they do want people to panic. But I'm talking about like if there's like a legitimate reason to panic, right? Would they say, yeah, you know, like make sure that everyone panics, make sure that... I always find this hilarious, like the don't panic thing. I panic more when I hear it rather than when it's not there. So the Republican House Speaker, Mike Johnson, also urged caution, telling reporters at the Capitol that there is no need for public alarm. Well, if the Democrats and the Republicans agree on something, now I'm actually concerned. We are going to work together to address this matter as we do with all sensitive matters that are classified. So the White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan signaled the frustration that Turner had gone public ahead of a Thursday briefing, and he is scheduled to deliver to the House for members in the Gang of Eight, a group of party leaders and top intelligence committee members. That's his choice to do that. All I can tell is that I'm focused on going to see him, sit with him, as well as the other members of the Gang of Eight. Right, so I don't think that for us civilians this is a matter of concern, but it is definitely an escalation of the arms race. The world is not moving towards a more peaceful place. Rather, we are moving closer towards conflict, as we have seen in the recent months. Many European leaders and NATO members are trying to ramp up their militaries and to get ready for a conflict, so the public is being primed for that. But that was the thing during the Cold War as well. Hopefully we're not moving back towards those ages. I would not like to relive with the fear and the paranoia that my parents used to live and their generation. But, you know, there's nothing for us to do in this situation. I hope I managed to keep you guys informed, and I'm generally curious what you have to say about this in the comment section. Take care.